Hey pals, it's Weltech. A while ago I picked up this K620 Quadro card. This is around the first time the Kepler architecture came out, so around the same time as the GTX 660. Now don't get your hopes up, this card is nowhere near the power of the GTX 660 at all, but I was able to pick this up off eBay for $12 at some point. Now some advantages to a tiny little card like this is it's low profile capable, so if you have the right bracket it'll fit in any small form factor PC. No external power connectors, so it works with 90% of power supplies that are out there unless it's somehow like really low. Still has NVENC support because it is on the Kepler architecture, which is really nice since it is a workstation GPU. If it only came to workstation stuff, I would probably honestly still use one of these for that, but we're not here for that. We're trying to see how this thing games. Unfortunately, the memory on these things are only DDR3. There is a whole 2 GB of VRAM, which is better than some of the cards we have covered on this channel already. Presumably DX12 support with 384 shading cores. Now, already off the bat from these stats, I wouldn't call this thing a monster exactly, but even at its top power draw, it's supposed to do 45 watts. These things were meant to sip power, and honestly for that draw, if this thing even puts up any performance, I consider it a win. So let's see how it does. One of the first games I decided to try with this GPU was Crash Bandicoot Remastered. Now all low settings at 900p, it did struggle. We got an average frame rate of 37.3, a maximum of 61.1, a minimum of 0.9, and a 1% low of 2.1. Now that might not exactly be fantastic, but you do have to keep it in perspective. This is a remaster that came out very recently of a really old game, and even if you don't think those numbers or the way it looks is that great, it still looks better than the PS1 did, and it still runs better than the PS1 did, so it's still a better experience than if you were to play the original game, which makes this card kind of a winner for this game to me. I wanted to give this card a fair shot for certain type of gamers out there. Not all of us are AAA gamers. Sometimes you just have comfort games you love, and one of those for me personally is Farm Together. I do believe this shares a lot of developers with Avatar Farm Online, which used to be on 360, which is one of my favorite games of all time. They released this on PC and I love this game, and honestly we've seen some pretty good results out of it. This time in full HD on low settings we got an average of 54.4, a minimum of 28.9, a maximum of 59.8, and a 1% low of 45.3. Now these are actually pretty good stats. I can't really complain about it. The gameplay was very fluid. It ran this game very well. If you're just looking for your comfort games, I had a great time doing this. Now another comfort game for me is always Fallout New Vegas. I love this game. Now this is where this card really started to shine. At high settings, 1080p, we actually saw 64 frames on average, a minimum of 13.5, a maximum of 76.9, a 1% low of 25, and a 0.1% low of 7.8. I'm going to be honest, I don't really know how this card handled this game that well, judging it is from around the same era and this is totally not a gaming card, but it did a fantastic job. I had a great time playing this and it looked really great too. Esports titles generally aren't too hard to run. That's one of the nice parts about them, unless you're Marvel rivals, of course, I suppose. Most of them are optimized for performance and speed over graphic fidelity, which led me to try this with Overwatch. DirectX 11 on medium settings, 1080p. We saw some pretty good results actually. 61 frames per second on average, minimum of 42.4, maximum of 75, probably due to some frame rate limit, 0.1% low 37.1, and a 1% low 37.2. So their 1%, 0.1% is pretty much exactly the same. Which is good to see actually. It means that I did not suffer any performance loss nearly at all with this card. Another eSport title I chose to go with was Rainbow Six Siege on their in-house benchmark this time. And when you're going with a card low tier as this, I think settling for FSR or DLSS is honestly kind of fair. On medium-low settings, 1080p, I was actually able to push this card pretty far with the balanced option of FSR 1.0. Might not look the best, obviously, as you can see for yourself, but the frame rate does not lie. Look at that, 57. Now that's a pretty playable experience to me. Doesn't look half bad. I could definitely play Siege with this if I needed to. Now, I do recommend getting a better card and spending more money on something, but if you needed to make ends meet, say you just need Siege or you wanted to play on something that was going to be temporary, this might actually be a good card for that. Personally, if you're looking to make a cheap small factor build, or you're just somebody who likes to retro emulate sometimes, or you just play a lot of comfort games, maybe older titles, I would definitely recommend this card. Now, it's only in a situation where the price is right. I wouldn't pay anything over 15 for it, but also if you're somebody who works all the time, or maybe you have your computer for workstation functions like CAD or maybe video editing, this thing isn't really that bad. It can perform pretty well with those scenarios, and it sips power. Even for a server, this actually might be a good card. I always think everything has its time and its place, and I think this definitely had a time as a top contender of its era, but now I think it still has a place in certain builds or certain places if you need it for something. Things I like about these type of cards is that they're multifunctional. You don't only need it for gaming, but it actually can still work for some light gaming, and it can help with other things too if you're looking for a card to do those other things. Also, I apologize if a lot of the video that I captured off of this card looked bad. For some reason, my capture card would not catch the video through it, and I did not want to diminish performance from the card because I had to record through OBS on it or something. So I just decided to record it with my phone camera. That's why it looked like that today. But with that, that has been my review of the Quadro K620. It was nice talking with you guys. This has been Waltech, and I am signing out. See you later.